to Mom's podcast, so I know that we've been MIA again, and um, we have I have an explanation. It's mom life, and so first, so I recorded me and Mercedes recorded that episode of the toxic relationships, and at the time I had just gone back with my ex. Since then, I've broken up with said guy again, and I actually have a new boyfriend, which is really fun. Um, but and I left that relationship because while I was talking about toxic relationships, I was in a toxic relationship, and it took me weeks to actually edit that episode. And I listened back to what I was saying. I was like, "Holy shit, I'm literally going through this right now," and I ended it with him. I broke up with him, and then right whenever we were going to record a new episodes, Mercedes was like, "I can't do this anymore," because she
Mom
was so
things,
busy.
mom things.
Yeah, she was really busy, and I understood. And then I found another podcast host, and your like she's just we never recorded with each other. And then Mercedes was like, "I want to come back." So you're never gonna miss an episode without Mercedes. She's gonna be here.
Yeah, get used to it. I'll be here. I'm a friend now. We're friends for life. So I'll be here always.
But we were gonna talk about panic attacks. And it was actually her fucking idea. And I was gonna introduce the other podcast co-host, but she's not here today. She's really sick. In her defense, I was talking to her earlier. They're saying voice messages back, and she sounds really
A lot
bad.
of people are getting COVID again. I have like 4 or 5 people I know get who have got COVID recently.
Yeah, my mom had COVID actually, and this week it was really bad.
She got really sick.
Yeah, oh, no, she didn't get like that sick, but she did have COVID. She said her
Oh my
throat
God.
hurt.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who are got it. Even kids were getting it. I know my grandpa's girlfriend's grandson, he had COVID, and I was like, oh my God, he's only like 8 years old. Hey everybody, thank you for having me back, Liz. I really appreciate it. I really love everything that you're doing with your podcast. I really love that you're being thoughtful and, trying literally, like not figuratively, literally helping me, like, and helping other moms. Like, you're keeping your word. You're not just bullshitting about it. So thank you for having me back. It's good to be back. I do plan to be with you guys longer this time. Let me explain that. So I did, have like all of us, I did have some really hard times with as far as like losing the job. My car got impounded and I went to jail, guys. But I prayed, 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 and that's what I do whenever I'm going through a hard time. And literally like 2 weeks later, I was back on my feet and everything, everything is falling back into place. So my weekly check-in, let's see. This week has been really good. I'm at work. I started a new job. It is a smoke shop. So business is a little bit slow, but I really do enjoy it. The girls that I have met here are so sweet and they're like freaking models, but they're so sweet. Like I love them, literally. Like I don't even know them. I've only worked with them like not even a month, but I'm like, oh my God, I love you guys. They're so sweet. Um, let's see what else. My son just turned 7. He had a little birthday party, so that's another, accomplishment for this week. Besides that, mentally, this week has been a really good week. I know the last time I did a check-in with you guys, it was like, oh, I'm going through some things. Besides that, I've had a really good week. I'm ready for the first of the month. I'm excited for fall. I'm excited for Halloween. And I mean, just a lot of good things to look forward to. So that's where I'm at during this week. And you, Liz, how's your week going?
Doing good. So me and my boyfriend made it official this week, and it was really, I don't know, it was
You have a man, a great man.
this one. He's fucking amazing. Like literally, like I can talk to him, and like whereas like for instance, and I don't want to bring him up, my ex, like if I said something, everything turned into a fucking fight. Like this guy
Mhm.
can come to him, and he'll be like, "Oh, okay, I understand," and like that's the end of it. Like, yeah, I understand. Your feelings are valid. I understand how you're feeling.
Mhm.
It won't happen again. And then like that's it. It doesn't start a fight. It's not a big deal. It's not an argument. And we do kind of like talk about it repetitively. Like we do kind of keep coming back to the topic, but it's never like yelling or arguing or anything. It's always like, oh, okay, I understand. Or like, oh, I didn't understand what you said before, but now I do. So thank you for clarifying that. It's never been aggressive. We don't yell at each other. And it's still new. Of course it's new. But I wouldn't even consider this like the honeymoon stage, because there's not like that like love bomby effect to it. It's just like a new experience where you're just like and I'm slowly getting more like comfortable with him and having fun with him. And we had a really, 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 really good night last night. It was so fun.
I saw that. That's so cute. I was like, oh, that's good. So y'all been hanging out a lot more.
Once or twice a week, but like the dates are fucking like it's like a whole day long, like all night long date. Like it's like we stay up late and we talk and like any other person I've ever dated has always been like, oh, like you watch a movie or you go get drinks or you Netflix and chill at your house, which leads to, whatever. But it's not, but like this guy, like I got there at 8 and we didn't go sleep until 4 in the morning. And then, but the whole time we weren't touching our phones. The TV wasn't on. We were literally just having such a good conversation. Such a
Oh,
good, we talked about so many different things. And it was such a good conversation, such a good vibe. Like it's really fun. And he got me little flowers and he set them up, he put them in the little vase for me and I left them there and I feel really bad. But um he's he's so perfect. He's really cute, he's handsome, he's sweet, and he has goals and he has like a life. What I really love about it is that he has a fucking life. He has a life. Like he has friends, he has his family, he goes hang out with his family, he goes and hangs out with his friends, he hangs out by himself sometimes, and he just has like a very well-rounded, well-balanced life. And I love that. And he's not constantly up my fucking ass. He's not up my ass like being like, oh, why didn't you text me like 5 minutes later? Like he's like, okay, like I'm gonna take some time. I'll call you later, and then that's it. It's just a good time. I love it.
that's good. So good week so far.
Yes, good week so far. Yeah, it was
And
really
your kids, did they go with it? Did they end up going with their dad that one weekend or this weekend? So it's just been one weekend so far, right? Okay. And are they supposed to go every weekend?
every other weekend.
How did they go? How did they like it?
They so they came back and they were like just some things. I'm not gonna say the whole thing, but a lot of things weren't adding up with what they were saying and what I know to be true about his life. So we're gonna be talking this week about anxiety and panic attacks and what the difference is and how you get diagnosed, how you get diagnosed, how you handle it, how you heal from it, like what might trigger you and stuff like that. And so basically a panic attack happens abruptly and unexpectedly, and an anxiety attack happens gradually and is a reaction to like real life stressors. Whereas a panic attack kind of just happens, it has no really rhyme or reason, it just like suddenly starts. And anxiety is normal to have to an extent and it can help you stay alert, but it becomes an anxiety disorder when you're having trouble maintaining a healthy life in relationships with others. Everyone's experience and triggers for anxiety are different. So, I know I struggle from anxiety.
Were you like diagnosed with it?
I'm diagnosed with anxiety. But I mean, anxiety is really common. I'm sure that like literally everyone has like, some form of anxiety, whether it's like like I'm not gonna be like you weren't diagnosed, so you can talk about it. Like I'm sure you have some form of anxiety or at least general anxiety. A lot of people. It's really, 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 really common. So, do you have
Yeah,
any
so that's why that was one of the reasons that I wanted to do like a episode on anxiety and panic attacks. So that is something new for me. I've never actually experienced panic attacks or anxiety attacks. I'm thankful that you told me the difference because now I'm like I'm not sure which one it is.
I feel like what you were describing to me was more panic attacks.
More panic than anxiety because it's like a scared feeling, right?
Yeah, because like
Okay.
I feel like anxiety is like you're more like just like in your head and really worried and kind of like
You see, that's what my thing is. Like I notice when I'm really stressed, that's when those attacks happen. So that's why I thought it was an anxiety attack, because it's like really stressed things. Like for example, one day like I was like, oh, I'm not gonna have the money to pay the rent tomorrow, like I told them. So I was just like stressing the day before, probably like at least 3 days before I had panic attack or anxiety attack. I'm not sure which one it was, but that's one of the reasons I did want to do an episode like this because for other people like me who are not sure how to differentiate between the two, I think the thing with me also is I want to just to get in here and share like some things that are happening to me because it might be something new. I'm already going to be 33. So this just started last year and this year. I've never had anything like this. I have not yet been to the hospital or therapist to get diagnosed, but it's something new to me. And I was like, let's talk about it. Maybe some other people, like it's just happening to them also. So maybe they can give me some tips. I have had some people give me some tips on things I can do as well. But honestly, like my panic attacks or anxiety attacks, I'm not sure which they are because, like I said, I haven't been diagnosed. It's weird to me. Like, for example, it's kind of like a deja vu feeling. That's how I describe it. So I'll remember like throughout the day, something will set me off that I'll remember. It's kind of like a deja vu, or like I'll tell myself like I just dreamt about this the other day. And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
once I
deja vu.
realize like it's deja vu or something that I've seen before, that's when I start panicking. Like if something bad's gonna happen. And it could be something as minor as me sitting here. Like I sit here every single day. So
Yeah,
maybe that's, like what triggered it. It's something that I've always done. Like, for example, I can be driving down a road and I'll be like, and it's a road I go through all the time because it's close to my house. The other day I was driving down that road and I kind of just looked around and then it kind of felt like deja vu. Like I said, like I've been here before, I've done this before, and then a panic feeling set in where I started getting scared. And I'll get so scared and worried to the point where I'll throw up. Like that's how bad my nerves are. I'll have to throw up. Like I cannot hold it down. After I throw up, I start feeling like hot and I start feeling like just scared and I like something bad's gonna happen or something. And that freaks me out. There's so many things that I'm scared of, including labor, but like anxiety attacks and panic attacks, they really do scare me. Like they really do. Like once I know I'm gonna about to have that feeling, I don't want to have that feeling. So I will do whatever to like the only thing really that has kind of helped me is to get up and get out and walk around. And once I go outside, like I kind of like calm down a little bit more. I don't know if it's like the fresh air or what, but once I get a change of scenery, then I'll calm down a lot. I used to think like smoking helped me, but smoking doesn't help me. It has not been helping, at least because I can still be high and get a panic attack or an anxiety attack. Um, so yeah, that's a big reason why I was like, we need to make an episode about this and bring it to light because also I didn't know what was going on with me. And so I asked my sister, she is clinically diagnosed with anxiety attacks. So when I told her about it, she told me like, you sound like you're having either an anxiety attack or a panic attack. Sis, like, I know it's really bad. I know. And I told her like, it scares me. I've never been through this. I don't know what to do. Like to stop it. I don't want it anymore. And it was like a
yeah,
burden basically. And she just tells me like, you need to go see a psychiatrist too. If it continues or if it gets worse, you need to go see a
yeah.
therapist or somebody that can prescribe you the medication for it and talk to them. I tell her like I don't want to get on medication, and she's like, well, hopefully like everything is good because I haven't had any episodes in from let's see, the last time I had an episode was a good, I want to say 3 to 4 months ago was the last time I had a really bad anxiety attack. Yeah, maybe 2 months, 2 to 3 months. I know it's been a while. Um,
Like, I mean, you don't have to do medication. I know medication isn't for everyone. My ex co-host, Kat, I know she had really bad anxiety too, and she didn't want to take her medication. But like even therapy helps. What therapy can do for you is like look under like what's all like the surface level stuff and be, oh, that's where the source is for this trigger that's causing you to have these anxiety attacks. Let's heal that and then get down to the root of things. And that way it'll become less, or at least it'll help you with coping skills and then they help you with healing past wounds. So yeah, you don't have to do medication. Medication isn't for everyone. I'm really big for advocate for medication, but I know that medication isn't like something that everyone wants to do or should do, So
mhm. Yeah, girl. So it's like, it's never, like I said, I've never had it before. I already know my whole life has been stressful. So I already know like I stress a lot. And I've never had it. Even back then when I still stressed, I never had it. So when it started happening to me, it really did scare me, like I said. And I feel like talking about it, especially with you, because your background is a little bit more like you're more advanced when it comes to mental things. Does that make sense? like you're more like you have more knowledge than I do, definitely. Um, like because like you said, you've been diagnosed with it, so you kind of like know more. Um, that like I just wanted to come in here and definitely talk about it and have, anybody who has any advice on some things we can do. I've heard taking cold showers helps. Um, some people have told me smoking. Some people have told me to like you gotta like how do you say it? Like think about something else to get your mind off of that, basically. I've seen some things in YouTube and on the internet and Google that are like like different steps and different processes that you can take to start helping yourself calm down. But I just feel like in the midst of a freaking panic attack, I don't think like, oh, I need to remember those steps in YouTube and Google. I don't think like that. I'm just like, oh shit.
Yeah, you're like in fight or flight. It's scary. So it's hard to like think in that moment, like, oh, let me fix this or whatever. You're just in the moment feeling your feeling. Whenever I was in the IOP, an intensive outpatient program, and I did like
Mhm.
10 hours of therapy a week. And we did a lot of stuff for it's called DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy. And that is for people with like BPD or bipolar. And while I'm not technically diagnosed bipolar or BPD anymore, I still took it and still like went there. And that's how I found out it wasn't BPD or bipolar. But I still learned a lot of skills. And there's this workbook, you can probably check it out and it'll help you a lot. It's called the Borderline Workbook. It's on Amazon for like $15, and it'll like teach you skills, like like honestly when you're in the moment, like in the moment you're like, oh, that's common sense. That's yeah, you should be doing that, you know? Like it teaches you how to put these common sense, quote unquote common sense things into action when you're in that fight or flight mode. And then it has like I think it has like a tracker in the workbook. Yeah, I'll send you the link and I'll add it to the notes on this
Yeah,
podcast
because if
episode.
it helps, girl, if I can even find just one thing that I know will help me, once I start feeling that feeling, then it's worth it because, girl, those anxiety and panic attacks are bad. Like, I feel bad for people who have lived with them for years and like they have to learn how to like just adjust around them. Like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
You really just have to like find out what the trigger is and what exactly is triggering it, and then heal that wound or whatever, whatever it is. But like journaling would probably help, like uncover a lot of stuff and, just get down to the source.
I've been actually thinking of doing that too, like getting a journal. And see, the thing with me is I don't like to write. I'm a typer. I think I should get a laptop and just start typing everything because maybe that'll help. But I've thought about that, like getting a journal or even just getting the Bible and just start like breaking the Bible down for myself as a hobby. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Like a Bible study for yourself kind of thing.
Yeah, for myself, yes, as a hobby to help myself. Because girl, I'm just so anxiety attack, you said, is when you're really stressed. So anxiety is like, is it more common?
It's more common and it's less like erratic, and like I feel like with anxiety attack you probably wouldn't throw up. It's more like you're in your head. You're kind of like stressed, like overly stressed out. You're thinking about a million things for once. Maybe your chest hurts a little bit. But I feel like a panic attack is much more like throwing up, sweating, getting like really panicky. You're like really like scared for your life, as I
Yeah.
feel what I've understood a panic attack to be.
And it's possible to have both, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
That's scary.
But what I do if I'm having anxiety, because I don't think I've had like a panic, I have had panic attacks, but I haven't done it in a long time. But what helps me is I also don't like to write either. So what I do is I record myself talking about something, and usually in Zoom or whatever, or like I'll do it in like on my phone notes app or whatever. And I don't keep the recordings, but I have the recordings, and I'll like record myself talking and then I'll listen back to my recording, and because I overthink a lot, I overthink so much, and I'll listen back to my thing and I'll be like, okay, how do I feel about this situation from a third person, from a person that's not me? Like if I were to like, it's as if you're telling me this stuff, and then how do I feel about it as if I'm my own friend? Would I validate my feelings? Or would I be like, no, that's you're a little bit overboard and you're overthinking this? Or would I be like, no, you're right. You're right in your feelings. So then when I either validate or I invalidate my feelings or whatever, it's a good practice to be like, what's healthy, what's not healthy.
That is a good idea. I've never thought about that. That is a good idea though. And then you can like see yourself like with your like like what's the problem basically like because you're like stepping out of your own situation and taking a look at it from like an outsider's point of view. That does make sense. That does sound like it will definitely help.
Yeah, so I've started doing that, and it helps me with like validating my own feelings, even in the moment. Like if I have a feeling, like it's even helping. I honestly think with my boyfriend now, like there's times when I'm like talking or whatever, and I'm having an easier time now telling someone or telling him if I have a problem with something. Like I feel more confident in myself to be like, no, this is a valid feeling. I'm allowed to feel this way, and sometimes I still like panic. I'm like, shit, is that too much of a feeling? And but he'll usually like reassure me and be like, no, you're right. You're okay to feel that way. And it's like so it's boosting my confidence in myself to be able to bring it to other people, to be able to feel my feelings. It's like it's a good tool. I
I'm gonna have to try that because I feel like I need to figure out something because I think I one time I made a post on Facebook and I had got some ideas of some different things to try. I need to look up that post again because I mean, like I said, I haven't, even though I have been really stressed this last month with rent and everything, I haven't had any episodes and I'm very thankful for that. And sometimes, like, even me just thinking about anxiety and panic attacks, I don't even want to think about it because I'm like, oh no, I don't even want to go there.
the only experience I have with it is I used to have like really bad like panic attacks when I was like it was like 3, 4 years ago, right when I was diagnosed with bipolar. And I was so scared of being murdered. I was terrified. I was always like on edge, like someone I'm gonna be murdered like any minute now. And anytime the kids would like make a loud noise, like if we're getting in the car and the kids are like crying or being loud or like whatever, I got really overwhelmed really easily. And like things would happen. I'm like, gonna say what? But it's a lot better.
Really stressed about it. So is it a lot better now because you feel like the medication's been helping you, or like are you like in a better place in your life where you feel more calm so you don't have
Well, like at first it was definitely because of the medication because I got medicated and then that stopped happening. Now I'm not on any medication and I feel perfectly fine. I don't have like of course I'm like, every day like murder and being kidnapped and sex trafficked is like definitely like it's a thing that happens, and I try to be cautious, but I'm not like overly like
like it's not the first thing you think about when you
yeah,
wake up, you
yeah,
know?
it's not the first thing I think about, and it's not what I all consumed by that.
Oh, but that's scary. What if it's like a gut feeling, like a tuition, like your guardian angel's warning you, like, girl, you better watch out.
No, like I was scared about that. I was really scared about that. Whenever I was first diagnosed and put on medication, I remember talking to my therapist at the time, and I was like, well, what if I get on medication and it takes away my ability to like trust my gut, to be aware of my surroundings? Yeah, and I thought that I was like,
Wait, I have a question. So whenever you were doing your therapy, like what was if you don't mind me asking, what was the underlying issue? Like what was triggering you?
um, well, so I did the IOP because I had been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, and I heard
Mhm.
that the DBT therapy would help with that, so that's why I went into the therapy for because I wanted to know more about what the fuck was going on. And then when I was in the therapy, and it's a group therapy, you have other people in the group with you. There's other people in the group that have bipolar and have borderline and have all these. I'm not judging them. I'm just saying I did not relate to them, but it helps me a lot with like understanding like that I've been like gaslit by my mom for a really long time, and like they
So anxiety and panic attacks are kind of like you get them from going through all of that, right? Does that make sense? Like a symptom? Not a symptom.
it's just a general thing. I don't know what the trigger is. It's just a general anxiety thing that I don't know. But as far as like the murder thing, I don't know where that fuck that came from. That was just a very random thing, honestly. I don't know why I was like instantly like, I'm gonna be murdered. And
Maybe you watched something as a child and like it just stuck with you in a way.
maybe you know what it was? You know what, this is probably what it was. I was listening to a lot of true crime podcasts at the time. So I think that's what triggered it. And but I was literally terrified for like a whole year. I just couldn't go anywhere. Any sudden sound, I was like, holy, like startled and holy shit, like it was a big thing and a big problem. So the anxiety disorder symptoms are feelings of dread, watching for signs of danger, anticipating the worst, trouble concentrating, feeling tense and jumpy, and irritability.
That's for anxiety.
Yeah, and then these are physical symptoms of anxiety: heart pounding, sweating, headache, stomach upset, dizziness, shortness of breath, muscle tension or twitches, shaking or trembling, and insomnia. It's a lot. Those are like physical symptoms of, but it's not like I don't think you're as like panicky. I feel like it's just like a very undertone kind of feeling of, you know, and then a panic attack is often associated with panic disorder, which is a type of anxiety disorder that is characterized by intense, recurrent, and unexpected panic attacks. A panic attack can occur in other disorders, and you can have a panic attack without having panic disorder.
Yeah, so you can have like a panic attack even though you've like it can be like just random attack and not be like a does that make sense? Okay. I think that's what I have because mine are very, very random. My panic attacks very random. Like I probably have like maybe three a year, randomly. And one week, I remember I had them bad. One week, I had them like every single day of the
I
week. They were
remember
bad.
that. You're telling me. Some symptoms of panic attack are a sense of detachment from the world or derealization, a detachment of the self, is depersonalization, a fear of dying or losing control, chest pain, chills, excessive sweating, feeling of choking, feeling dizzy, unsteady, lightheaded or faint, heart palpitations, heart pounding, accelerated heart rate, hot flashes, nausea or abdominal distress, numbness or tingling sensation, trembling or shaking, and sensations of shortness of breath or difficulty breathing.
That's the panic attack one, right?
That's a panic attack, yes.
Yeah, that definitely does sound more like what happened to me because I would get shaky, I would get nauseous, I would throw up, I would start sweating. So yeah, now it's good to know. Like, I definitely always wanted to like read up on this, but I just haven't had time. But these are good things to know. You need to send me a screenshots of all this.
Yeah, I'll send you screenshots. So this is getting diagnosed. So in order to get diagnosed, you need to talk to your doctor if you're having any symptoms of anxiety or panic disorder. Well, and women are twice as likely to have anxiety, so it's recommended by Women's Preventative Services Initiative. It recommends screening women ages 13 and up for anxiety. So if you're over the age of 13, you should probably go see your doctor if you're having any symptoms of anxiety because it's really, really common. And doctors might look at your medical history, they'll run labs or do a physical examination to rule out any other illnesses, and they will look at symptoms, the duration of your symptoms, and the intensity to diagnose you according to the DSM-5 criteria, which is like a book of like criteria where they base any diagnosis on. You haven't been diagnosed, right? You haven't like officially seen a doctor or anything?
No, when I was about I want to say maybe 19, I was diagnosed with depression. I went to see a therapist and I was diagnosed with depression, but I was like, dude, I think we're all depressed. Like, and he wanted to give me medication. And I was like, no. And I never took any medication for it. So I always thought like, I wonder if because I didn't take any medication, I didn't learn how to manage my depression, if that's what's been building up over the years and then causing panic attacks, maybe.
I don't know. I think a lot of people are depressed. I don't think there's any, and I honestly can't fathom the idea that anyone is not depressed at some point. Like maybe not like all the time, but like chronic depression where it just comes and it goes and it flows. It's life. Life happens.
Yeah, girl. Like randomly, it would be so random.
And then not only that, but it's on a spectrum where it's like, sometimes you're more depressed than other times, or sometimes you're more anxious than other times. It just
Yeah.
is life.
So what if you're like sitting in a car outside of your workplace and you're like, I don't want to go in there, I don't want to go in there, I don't want to go in there. Like you literally like that's anxiety, like stress from
Probably.
it maybe.
Yeah.
It's like just feeling a lot in your head, like too much,
Yeah,
kind of.
yeah.
Because I always thought about that, but I never knew the difference. So it is really good to learn about the differences, you know?
I get like really anxious. Like I get anxious about everything. Like everything. I overthink everything. But like in grocery stores, I get really anxious, and it's not even like there's a lot of components to it, but like the loud noises, there's a lot of people. I have to watch out for my kids, so I'm like constantly like, where are my kids? And then trying to main like focus on the list, and then people are talking to me, and I don't like grocery stores. I get so like claustrophobic and anxious. And then especially at HEB, I can't stand HEB.
So you're claustrophobic too on top of everything.
I just like not really claustrophobic. I just don't like.
You don't like that feeling.
Yeah, I don't like the like being closed in, and or maybe yeah, claustrophobic, but like
And that's crazy that you say that because I'm the type like we definitely have a lot in common because I'm like that, but not at grocery stores. I'm like that at bars. Like whenever people want to go out, they're like,
yeah,
"Hey, let's go to this bar." Everybody goes there. I'm like, I don't want to go because of that. I don't like people crowded. I don't want nobody talking to me. Don't touch me. Like get away from me. You know,
yeah.
like I have so much shit going in my head. Like what if something happens? You know, like it's just crazy. That's so crazy. But never with the grocery store. I like to go to the grocery stores.
It depends on the grocery store. So like I live. Do you have HEB over there in Houston
Yeah,
or
we
no?
have HEBs. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know HEBs are really like like popular or whatever, and we have and in my area we have like a Target, a Walmart, a Kroger, and an HEB all like literally right next to each other. Walmart and HEB are probably the busiest, and but HEB definitely more. And I purposely avoid HEB, and I know they have a ton of good stuff. I know they do, but there's so many fucking people in there. So I purposely go and I'll spend more money just to go to Kroger across the street because it's so empty in there. And it costs more money, but it's worth it to me. I'm like, I don't want anxiety. I don't want to feel like that, so I'll just go to Kroger.
I feel you. Hey, whenever it's a lot of people like that, yeah. Like, no. I'm like that, like I'm telling you, like if somebody's telling me like let's go out, at first I'll be like, yeah, let's go, and I'll think about it, and then the more I think about it, I'm like, oh no, I don't want to go.
Yeah.
Like, never mind.
Yeah.
So
There's one time I literally cried. I went to like a mom meetup thing in San Antonio. I lived in San Antonio, and I was pregnant with Addie, and then I was like 21, 22, and I looked really young, and I looked even younger back then. And I
mhm.
remember,
Okay.
and I remember like the moms in there were like they're all like in their late third, like mid 30s, late 40s, like they're older, significantly older than me. And I remember I was talking to one of them or just standing there like around the other moms. And one girl comes up to me and she's like, "Oh, are you this girl's daughter?" And I was like, "I know." And I started crying. And I was like, "Do I look that young?" I felt so out of place about like all these like other like more successful moms. And I was like this like super young chick that was just like all on her own and didn't know anyone. And I cried. I bawled my eyes out. I was so sad and so scared.
I was like, I don't need to laugh. It's just like, can you imagine like all the work we've done now, like looking back on it, like we've come such a long way. Like
Yeah.
I never used to be this outspoken. I never used to be, this wanting to know about all, not even
Yeah.
just mental stuff, like mental mom stuff, just in general. I've never been that person that wants to know why, what, where, like I've always just been to myself, been quiet. But I look at myself now and I'm like, damn, you've come a long way. Like you're a woman now. Like, it's a different from I was only 18 when I had my first kid, so I was still young. I still consider myself young.
Yeah.
Now though, like I love that I'm able to look back on all this and just be like, I've come so far and grown so far. And look at all this stuff that comes with it though. Like, anxiety comes with it. And I mean the best thing is like I always just try to like, even when I have bad moods, girl, I always try to like distract myself and just be in a better mood. I think that I always say like feelings are just feelings. Being happy is a feeling, being sad is a feeling, being mad is a feeling. Like you're choosing your feelings, you know what I mean?
How do you choose your feelings? Or maybe you choose how you handle your feelings, you know? But I don't think you can really choose how you feel. You feel the way you feel because of certain circumstances, but the way you react with your
Yeah.
feelings is
I was gonna say, then again, if you don't put yourself in certain situations, but then again, you can't control that. You know, the situations that we put ourselves in, like God sometimes wants us to be in that situation. So it's not like we can, avoid it or whatever. But you no longer take medication for anything,
uh-uh.
like at all, nothing. That's good. Do you feel different?
I feel fine. I feel the same way I did when I was on vacation. I just like I've done a lot of healing, I've done a lot of work on myself, and I'm in a better place overall, so I don't feel like I need them, you know? And I was in a really, really dark place whenever I was diagnosed and put on medication. So I just feel a lot better. So this is treatment for anxiety. So of course, talking therapies for anxiety and panic and disorders can involve. So you can try cognitive behavioral therapy. This type of therapy can help you see things that worry you in a new way. There's also an app I can send to you, or like add it in the notes. It's a CBT like journal app on your phone. Where kind of like do like mental health check-ins and be like, how are you feeling? What happened today? What triggered you today? How were you active? Were you like, and ask you a lot of really insightful questions, and you can kind of like pinpoint what exactly made you feel a certain way. So I'll send you that app, and I'll add the app to the notes to the notes in this episode, so anyone listening can download
Yeah, you
that.
can put it in the description box for people too, yeah. So they can go ahead and because I didn't even know there was an app like that. So it's good to know.
Yeah, so this type of therapy can help you see things that worry you in a new way. A counselor can help you develop strategies for managing triggers when they arise. Cognitive therapy, this can help you pinpoint, reframe, and neutralize the unhelpful thoughts that often underlie an anxiety disorder. Exposure therapy, this form of therapy involves controlled exposure to situations that trigger fear and anxiety, which can help you learn to confront those fears in a new way. And then there's relaxation techniques, breathing exercises, guided imagery, progressive relaxation, biofeedback, and autogenic training. A doctor can walk you through some of these, so you need a doctor. You can't do these on your own. And doctor might suggest attending individual sessions, group sessions, or a combination of the two. Yeah, but again, if you can't afford therapy, you can reach out to the Mental Month podcast, and I can help you look for a therapist in your area. Do not go use BetterHelp or Talkspace because those are not licensed therapists. They're not legitimate therapists. Those are just people, and even the therapists. And I think there are some legitimate therapists, but they're not paid well at all. So I would just go find like a therapist that takes your insurance or etc. There's a lot of cheap or free options available. Um, and if you ever need immediate help with talking to someone, you can always call the suicide hotline, and they can help you talk through stuff. And they also like allow texting now if you're really down. So just that you have options. Reach out if you need it. The next thing is medications. There's examples of medications your doctor may prescribe. Uh, Antidepressants, these include selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, which is SSRIs. That's like Lexapro or Wellbutrin, stuff like that. Or there's serotonin norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors, which is SNRIs. And then there's beta blockers. These medications can help manage certain physical symptoms like a rapid heart rate. Anti-anxiety drugs includes benzodiazepines, a sedative medication that can suppress symptoms quickly. All of these drugs can have adverse effects. SSRIs and SNRIs are for long-term use, and it can take time to feel the effects. Benzodiazepines are for short-term use only, as there is high risk of dependence. You get codependent on them. So it's kind of a risk. And one of the other interviews with the exes, she told a story about how my ex was stealing her anxiety medication. So she couldn't take her medication because he would steal it from her.
But wouldn't it be affecting everybody differently? So he was just taking it because he was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna take it," or
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? And then would it be like a downer feeling, anxiety
Well,
medicine, right?
that's what I'm saying. Like the ones for anxiety or panic attacks, people use those recreationally. Like Xanax,
Xanax, that's why. Okay, I get it. I forgot all about that. So he was stealing her pills and she couldn't take them.
she couldn't take them because she couldn't leave them there because
Oh
he
my
was
God,
stealing them.
imagine how much they used to fight. I bet you they used to argue and fight a lot because of that.
Okay, so then there's home remedies for a panic attack and anxiety attack. You should speak to a doctor or a mental health professional to find out what you can do to both prevent and treat anxiety and panic-related symptoms. Having a treatment plan and sticking to it when an attack happens can help you feel like you're in control. If you feel like an anxiety or a panic attack is coming on, try to do the following. You can take deep breaths when you feel your breath quickening. Focus your attention on each inhale and exhale. Also, there's a ton of anxiety meditations on YouTube for free. There's also Headspace, an app that has like quick anxiety meditations, and they'll help you like calm yourself down with breathing and stuff. And also listening to someone talk to you and walk you through it. Like I've never been good at just sitting there and doing meditations. I need someone to like I like the ones where they talk to you and they tell you, okay, breathe in and think about this and breathe out and like really feel the world around you. And meditation can help you a lot. Um, anyways, also awareness of your surroundings. When you feel a certain way, what you can do is you start like, okay, so like let's say you're having an anxiety attack, you can be like, okay, I feel my chest is getting really tight. You breathe in. I feel my head is spinning. I feel like I can't really breathe, or I feel like my heart is quickening. I feel like literally speak out what you're feeling and just the awareness that you bring to yourself and knowing like telling your brain that you feel a certain way and making it aware that that's what's happening will help you bring yourself back down to earth too. That's another thing I learned in the IOP actually. We did a lot of meditations in that and bring grounding yourself and like being like okay I see you can be um literally look at your surroundings and be like okay I see a blue cup, I see a black plate, I see a picture on my wall of a dragon, I see blue headphones, and you literally take yourself out of your head and your headspace and it helps a lot.
And that's for anxiety or both anxiety and panic attacks?
It probably works for both.
Yeah, I was gonna say it probably does work for both. Because I know like I said, when I'm having my panic attacks, I like to go outside. Like just the fact of being outside and there's people looking at me and dogs running around, like it brings me down. It calms me down a lot.
If you're aware, you're acknowledging other things other than whatever you're going through. And so count down from 4 as you exhale and repeat until your breathing slows. You can recognize and accept what you're experiencing. Like I just said, if you're already experiencing anxiety or panic attack, you know it can be incredibly challenging. Remind yourself that the symptoms will pass and you'll be all right. Practice mindfulness. Again, what I just said, being mindful of your feelings and things around you. Mindfulness is a technique that can help you ground your thoughts in the present. You can practice mindfulness by actively observing thoughts and sensations without reacting to them. Use relaxation techniques, include guided imagery, aromatherapy, and muscle relaxation. If you're experiencing symptoms of anxiety or a panic attack, try doing things that you find relaxing. Close your eyes, take a bath, use lavender, which has relaxing effects.
I've always heard good things about lavender.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of lavender.
I've never personally tried it. I feel like I don't like scented things like that too much. But like I've heard like bath bombs.
Yeah.
We had a margarita that flavor at the job I used to work at. What is it? Lavender? Yeah, lavender
Oh,
margarita.
really?
I was like, I always hear and smell this. Like not hear, but I hear about it and smell this, but I've never tried it in my mouth. I still didn't try it though.
I feel like that's a really weird flavor.
Imagine it really knocks you out.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Alcohol?
Yeah, because I remember when my babies were babies and I had some like the calming lotion, but the bedtime lotion, and that one had lavender, and they would knock out.
I don't know. I don't know why. I just don't like lavender. There's some lifestyle changes you can make that can help you prevent anxiety and panic attacks, as well as reduce the severity of symptoms when an attack occurs. Is you can reduce and manage sources of stress in your life. Learn how to identify and stop negative thoughts. Get regular, moderate exercise. Practice meditation or yoga. Eat a balanced diet. Join a support group with people with anxiety or panic attacks. Limit your consumption of alcohol and caffeine as well as the use of drugs. And that's about it. That's honestly, that's it. That's,
So those are some things you can do to try to manage your anxiety, kind of.
yeah. Yeah. But it's like,
Wow.
I just feel like, honestly, like, just be healthy. Drink water.
I was about to say, yeah, being healthy. That sounds so boring though. No alcohol. What?
Yeah, I know. I know.
It hurt my
And
feelings with that one.
me and my boyfriend were like, we should do like a no alcohol challenge. And we were like, well, we love our margaritas. So
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds so boring. Like I get it. If I know a lot of people have alcohol problems, so of course they want to stop. Like I get that, but I don't drink like that.
yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
like it.
drink daily. I drink like I only drink with him now. But it's like once a week, if that. And I don't get like fucked up. I am pretty healthy. Oh, that's cool.
Do you like? Has it been? Have you been drinking more than usual? I'm only asking because have you felt like any panic attacks or anything now that you've been drinking more, or any
No,
anxiety?
but no. Whenever I was with TJ, I didn't drink at all the whole time because he didn't like me drinking, but I was smoking a lot of weed. I was really depressed with him, but I think it was just a relationship. I don't think it had to do with the drugs or alcohol.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think we were with the weed. It was just him.
Anyways, is there anything you want to say before we leave?
No, I just want to say that if you are having panic attacks or anxiety attacks and it's your first time, like me, um, Liz said she's gonna go ahead and list some things in the description box, some things like some tips that can help maybe. If you feel like if you want to reach out to me and just tell me like, hey, I know what you're going through. Here's some things that help me. That'll be appreciated. I would appreciate that. But no, besides that, it's good to be back. I'm excited to be back. I'm excited to continue, with new topics every week because believe it or not, and I told you this a lot of times, like this helps me a lot
Yeah.
with my own mental health. Because I told you like I love to talk to you, I trust you. So I really do. That's it though. Nothing else really.
Thank you for coming back, even though you weren't technically gone. According to everyone else, you never went missing. But I'm really glad to have you back and have you back on the show. So thank you for listening. Don't forget to check out our Facebook page at the Mental Month Podcast, and you can also find us on Instagram at the Mental Month Podcast and on TikTok, but we don't really post on TikTok. We're also on YouTube. You can find us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, or Apple Podcasts. Everywhere you can find podcasts, we're there. And hope to see you guys next week. And welcome back, Mercedes. And Ashley should be here next week or sometime soon. Hopefully, you'll meet her soon or not. She was gonna replace Mercedes, but Mercedes when they come back, so we're just gonna add Mercedes back in. But she's not in any way a replacement for Ashley. Have a good day, y'all.